Good evening and welcome to the Municipality of Monroeville's regular council meeting for February 13th, 2018. If you'd please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. Roll call, Sharon.
Mayor Griesbach.
Here.
Mrs. Gatos.
Here.
Mr. Coach.
Here.
Mr. Harvey.
Here.
Mr. Johns.
Here.
Mr. Arsenko.
Here.
Mr. Duncan.
Here.
Mr. Wilson.
Here.
Mr. Little.
Here.
Mr. Ratcher.
Here.
Ms. Rock.
Here.
Mr. Hugus.
Here.
Mr. Sedlak.
Here.
Mr. Weldon.
Here.
Thank you. Mr. Habala, if you have a shot of the audience again, if we could, before we get started. We have a few new Boy Scouts that came to join us this evening, and we just wanted to welcome them for coming to our meeting and touring the municipality. So, thanks, fellas. We're going to put you to work this evening, okay? All right, thanks, Joe. On Thursday's work session, our Citizens Night meeting, we spoke at length about our proposed oil and gas ordinance. It has been tabled by the Planning Commission on January 17th, 2018. At our work session, we discussed at length that we would be tabling this ordinance this evening. I'd like to seek a motion on that.
I'd like to make a motion.
Second.
As a motion to table, and there is a second. Roll call, Sharon.
Mrs. Gatos.
Aye.
Mr. Coach.
Aye.
Mr. Harvey.
Aye.
Mr. Johns.
Aye.
Mr. Arsenko.
Aye.
Mr. Duncan.
Aye.
Mr. Wilson.
Aye. Very good, thank you. So there will be, with that tabling, there will be no discussion about this ordinance by council this evening. You can have comments at the end of the meeting if you would like to talk about that ordinance in particular, but this will be tabled, going back to the Planning Commission for them to make a decision on, and that'll come back to to this dais here in front of this council at our next meeting if Planning Commission decides on it at their next meeting. And we're going to start with our public comment on proposed agenda items only. If anyone has signed in this evening for proposed agenda items.
I have, Mr. Mayor, but it was going to be on the ordinance, so I don't think I need to talk.
If you could hold it for the end, if you still have questions at the end of the meeting, at the public comment meeting at the public time at the end.
I just wanted to let you know I signed it.
Okay, very good.
What it was about.
Okay.
Mayor,
So proposed agenda items.
I'm not sure where I'm looking for a response from the information that I submitted on Thursday.
Mayor, we can't hear.
Ma'am, you have to come up to the mic.
Yes, Joe. Georgia, I'm sorry. Come to the, if you want to ask.
Yes, I was just wanting a response from the information that I provided for council on at Citizens Night.
Very good. Yeah, that's not on our agenda, but I will tell you that Mr. Little spoke with Geokinetics, and then two other companies that were involved.
I took the pictures, and Paul Hugus and I met with them, and I showed them the pictures, and he recognized the one guy as being the foreman on Pathfinder. He said he would talk to me, and he said he would get back to me if he found anything out, and that's where we are right now.
Okay, well, what do you do about them violating the settlement agreement?
As far as them trespassing on your property,
Right, as far as no notification, as far as trespassing on the property, that what I read out of this settlement agreement is they were in violation of that.
And
And
what-
I guess what I was expecting is when I talked with you and made you aware of that you would, when you said they were in Plum, I assumed that there was a stop work order put on these people
for what?
for trespassing. And, I just assumed that that's when you said they're not in your area, they're in Plum. And in violation of the settlement agreement, I would have thought that Mr. Ratcher would have already gone back to federal court with them in violation of this agreement.
Well, we got two different things going on here right now. You're talking about the trespassing on your property.
Right.
You called the police.
Right.
Okay, what did they tell you?
Well, I gave you the report.
Okay, well, for
Well,
the record, what did they tell you?
Well, what they told me was, and I said that my cousin had reported it to me, and we would be willing to provide any information necessary to work with the police and with counsel or whoever.
What did they tell you?
You want me to read it to you?
I
Brief.
didn't
Tell
see
you.
the report.
In
I
general,
turned it
what did
into
they say?
counsel. You want me to read it to you?
Just in general, what did they say?
He asked me the name of the individuals, and I didn't have the name. I said, this happened at 10 in the morning. My car wasn't in the driveway. I was at home, didn't know what was going on. My cousin reported this to me, and I called the police. And when the officer came, he asked me for the name. I said, I don't have a name. I said, they're working with geokinetics. And I, told him, I said, I've already sent them a letter last summer to stay off the property. And he said, well, we need the name of the individual or so that we could pass that, we could either cite them or do something. I mean, I don't know what else to do. I mean, I'm looking to work closely with you people so that this doesn't happen again.
George,
Go ahead.
from the time of the trespass until the police were notified, what would you say, a few hours?
It happened at 10 in the morning. When my cousin
Okay,
called me,
but
she
when the
had gone
police
to
were
work.
notified,
Okay.
was
When my
probably
cousin
what?
called me, she was calling me from work.
she should have called the police instead of you.
I understand that, and I understand that. And I called them as soon as she reported it to me.
Were they gone already, Georgiana? I think that's what we're trying to figure out. Were they already gone by the time you called the police department?
Yes.
Okay, so they couldn't come and see
Yeah,
anybody
so-
in the
No,
department?
and so I
there's-
provided the
That's-
pictures.
They didn't
That's how
witness
trespass-
I think
violation.
that's what's unclear to everyone, is that they were already gone.
And trespassing in general, that's the challenge. I mean, if it wasn't a,
Well, the
it wasn't a
the
situation.
violation of the settlement agreement is a huge concern to me as well, because, and these placing of these flags, Mr. Little, I think I mentioned to you, there's one
did.
flag on the Trafford Borough side, behind my home, okay, across the creek, very close to the creek, to the bank, to the area on the creek. And what concerns me, and I've been up here before over this, there is a gas line that runs the entire length of my property that was put in around, I think it was September of 1935. And I can tell you, when I've talked to Sunoco, and I'm going to put this number out there because, people need to be aware of this. The number, if you see anybody around this Sunoco, and I don't know what seismic testing could do or would do to a gas line put in the 1930s. It says, call us immediately if you strike one of our pipes or see someone working near them. Even minor dents, chips, or scrapes are serious and may cause future leaks if the problem is not professionally repaired. A number that you could call if you see somewhere around this gas line is 1-877-795-7271. This is a huge concern to me because this gas line runs the entire length of my property, put in 1935, goes through Regal Court, Ridgeview, and all the way into Turnpike Gardens and beyond. And this is not something that you can't ignore. Trespass is one thing, but this old aging gas line, and Mr. Little, if you can find out what that little pink flag is, why that's over there directly across from the creek area, I can tell you it's more than 50 feet away from my home, but I don't know how close it is to the gas line.
Have you contacted Sunoco or the gas
I've
company?
talked to them before, but I have not called them with this incident. I'm hoping that you'd call them, one of you. Thank you. So your final decision then is?
Well, we spoke to the companies that are doing the any flag work or anything in that area and discussed our concerns with them, and the supervisors are taking it to their workers.
Okay, well,
We can't
I
prove, we
think-
can't prove that someone did or didn't
Well, I think the
trespass.
pictures that I'm showing you walking across the property, you know, they walk directly across the property. I mean, I don't know how much clearer they could be.
Mr. Mayor,
Yeah,
may I?
go ahead.
And Bob, please help me out here. Under the law, if an officer does not see an incident, there's really not a whole lot we can do. Now, I understand she has photos, but I think Steve brought up the correct point. They should have been called while they were there, but no officer saw that. So what can we really do?
Well, I think typically the way it happened, and Doug's here, so, I would say that he's the expert on how the laws is enforced.
Doug, would you please?
But I think the situation is one in this case where it happened after the fact that the report was made, that the police would probably say you have to file a private complaint regarding the trespassing.
That would be correct. It has to, for our officers to be able to see somebody, detain them, issue them a citation, they have to on-view the offense. It's a summary citation at this level. They have to be warned initially by law enforcement before it becomes a defiant trespass or to the level of a criminal trespass, which could get into the misdemeanors or possibly even into the felonies. But the reality is they have to on view and see it. And routinely, when this happens, with people complaining about property lines, we don't know your exact property line. I'm sure you do. I'm not taking that. But the reality in the big picture is the best thing is to move, establish identification if it occurs. If they're there and they refuse to move, we'll tell them to move. They refuse to move again, well, then we can physically arrest them. But if not, what's going to happen is that the most is going to be a summary offense, non-traffic summary, which will be a citation. And normally, I'm saying normally, there's an exception, a couple exceptions to that, but very rare, that's got to be an on-view. We've got to see it happening, meaning the law enforcement.
Okay, and that's one issue, Doug, thank you. I did call you about what our solicitation was in Monroeville. Yeah.
I appreciate all of the information regarding the trespassing, but I think she's kind of also asking
I'm asking about the
agreement that was
settlement
written.
agreement.
Well, no, that's a good point.
Between ourselves and Huntley, I think she's more concerned about
It's
that being
geokinetics.
broken.
So you're saying Huntley and Huntley, and I'm
Or
referring to
geokinetics, yes.
geokinetics.
I think she's more concerned about, they're doing whatever they want to do, which isn't an agreement that we agreed with them. And so what are we going to do about it? How far are you going to let them push their boundary?
The fact of
Am
the
I
matter
correct or
is,
am I
yeah,
not?
that's exactly right. Thank you, Linda.
Can I-
The fact of the matter is, just hold on. The fact of the matter is, they violated their settlement agreement here. That should have been enough reason, even throw the trespass aside for a minute. That should have been enough to go back downtown, and file some sort of
Well, let me ask you,
legal
let me
action
ask you.
against them.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Is 130 a state road?
Yes.
Correct.
Do they not have an agreement?
They don't have a right-of-way on my property.
No,
I can
no,
tell
no,
you
no,
that.
no, no. But I'm
Past the
saying
utility
130,
pole.
we're talking about 130.
Right.
I'm not disagreeing with
I
you
know,
whatsoever.
Steve.
I'm just trying to lay some logistics out here. Where 130, I believe they have an agreement where they're allowed to do
Yes.
the thumper test,
They
all
have
the
a permit
tests
from-
on 130,
In their
48.
right-of-way, in their right-of-way. They
In their
don't have
right-of-ways.
right-of-way on my property.
Exactly, I agree with you.
Not
But-
past the
But what I'm
utility
saying,
pole.
you may see those representatives on those roadways.
But that,
On
the
Route
roadway
22,
is not on private
on
property.
48, on Route 30. I agree with you, not on your property. There is a right-of-way off of 30, though.
Well,
for
the
so many
right-of-way,
feet
the
that they
right
could
of,
walk.
Forbes Road.
the right-of-way stops at that utility pole, that catch basin utility pole.
And that very well may be, but I'm just telling you, you may see activity down there because it's out of our
They could
jurisdiction.
be, they could be on Route 130. They just can't come onto the property.
Right, but
when
we
you
also
s-
don't know exactly where the right-of-way ends.
I know exactly where it is. It
It's been
stops
measured,
at the
it's been
utility
measured,
pole.
because they're not always right at the
How many
utility
feet
pole.
off of 130 is the right-of-way?
They can't go past the utility
Mr.
pole.
How do you know that?
Do you know how
don't know.
far the right-of-way is on 130?
It varies.
Every property is different, correct?
It does
Well,
vary.
I can tell you because I was in
But
court with Duquesne Light
But when
in
you're
the
saying
mid-1990s.
you may see their vehicles there, they have a right to be there.
I know they
Not
can
that
be-
we want them there.
Look, they can be anywhere on Route 130, but they can't come onto my property like they did.
Absolutely not.
And they did
And if they do, you
violate
should
that.
call the police, and they'd be there
Had
immediately.
I known at that time, I would have.
I'd tell your whoever.
But I can tell you, Paul, they don't have the right-of-way there to come past that utility pole.
I don't disagree with you. Don't engage me.
All I want council to do is you had a settlement agreement that was violated. And I think you should have taken some other action, not
Well,
just for me.
Georgianne, let me ask you a question. How was the settlement agreement violated?
I was never
Specific,
notified.
what provision was
They
violated?
came onto my
What provision?
I read it to you the other day.
There's a caveat here, just so everybody understands curtilage and right-of-way here. Your house is open by right of custom and curtilage if somebody would come up and knock on your door. So if a person was working and came up and knocked on your door, he would not be in violation of trespassing.
Yeah, we went
Now,
through that with the grass
if he
guy.
goes up and knocks on your door, or he starts to work in your property or on your property, that's a different question. Or if he goes up and knocks on your door and doesn't leave when you say, I don't want you on my property, then of course that comes into sort of the trespass and defiant trespass. So don't take off the cuff that someone just can't take a step over the line and walk up to your front door on your sidewalk. He most certainly can, and it would not be a trespass in the criminal sense.
There is one little wrinkle to this. She has a no trespassing sign.
Even with a sign,
In the
right of
front
custom
yard.
to
And
come
no
to the door.
seismic testing sign in the window as
Okay, well, but even to come up and knock
Okay,
on your
all
door,
right.
you know, that's been accepted. There's a bunch of, because there's a whole issue with law enforcement doing that and having the capability of seeing something in plain view than going to get a search warrant. That's why I know that. So if the house is open by right of custom, like all our single-family units are, unless there's a fence out front, we're allowed to walk up to the porch, to the front door, knock on it. Any person's allowed to do that.
Well, Section 5, and I think Section 5 and Section 6 were all violated in this settlement agreement. And, you know, if you choose to dance around this, you know, that's your...
Yeah, nobody is dancing around. I mean, they're coming onto your property. They're out there, and they are putting indicators, we'll call them, as you called them, flags. There's nothing saying they cannot do that, if that's what you're referring to.
Well, what I'm saying is, in addition to that, is there's a flag that's completely off of my property, okay, but towards this gas line that somebody needs to take it upon themselves.
But is that a
somebody on
violation
council.
of the agreement?
Pardon me?
Is that a
I'm not
violation?
saying that. I'm
Oh,
saying
okay.
is to protect every resident of Monroeville, and I know how close those gas lines are because I walked Turnpike Gardens. I walked when that timber harvest was going to go on back there. I saw how close this gas line is to people's homes, and that's a huge, huge concern of mine.
Well, your concerns are noted. We've talked to the companies involved. We've had the explanation from a
I
police standpoint.
understand that. I understand where our chief is.
But if it happens again, please, I mean...
But
and
what
for
I
anybody-
want to know is, and honestly, like what you plan on doing about this settlement agreement. You know, instead of meeting with these people and smacking them on the hand and directing them to get their proper paperwork in order and allow them to continue to operate without their proper paperwork, because you told me, Mr. Little, that the day you didn't even know they were operating in Monroeville when I called you about this.
I didn't.
Yeah. Well, don't you think they should
What were
have
they,
known
but what were they doing? But Georgianne, what were they doing?
coming onto my property?
Well, call the police.
You know,
We were told
Like I
months
said-
ago that they were going to be operating on
1:30.
months ago, but were
on-
you notified? Did you get
1:30,
something in writing?
22, and 48, I believe,
Because the state permitted it.
was the state permit.
Why
And
were
I
they,
asked-
That was
why
out
were
of
they
our
on,
hands
why were
totally.
they on
I
Old
asked-
Ramsey then?
And
I have
asked-
no clue why they're then.
And let me tell you what.
That's something we should be
and they
discussing.
were
Why
on
were they on
Haymaker
Old
Road.
Ramsey?
Haymaker was
But
not on their
130,
list. And Forbes-
22, and I believe 48, they had permission
I-
through the state to do
I'm
that.
100% in agreement
And
with you.
we weren't able to stop it.
Right.
They were on
We
Haymaker,
tried.
and they were on Forbes.
They were
And
on
they
Ramsey.
marked there.
Yeah. And they
Again,
put
that's a
Kings
state
River-
road.
Talking about it.
So folks, if I could offer, if we could have Mr. Ratcher look and actually see if he feels there is a violation of this agreement in any way.
That's all she's asking.
And if that's the case, then we need to pursue that.
That's all she's
Okay,
And that's
what
what
I
I'm
need are
asking.
these.
I take
I'm
offense
asking you for that.
when you people are saying we're ignoring it. We're not.
Okay, but like I
100%
said,
we're not
they were
ignoring.
on Haymaker, they were on Forbes, none of those were on that Interstellar. According to Mr. Little, in my discussion with you, you didn't know they were on Forbes or Haymaker.
No, I
said,
did
What
not.
are they doing
No.
there?
No, I did not.
Can I ask a question, please?
Mr. Wilson, yes.
I'd like to know if we could call the folks that are placing these flags or whatever on her property and say, stop doing that.
They didn't put it on my property,
Pardon?
okay? They were stopped short of putting
Well,
it.
I understand, but I mean,
Mr. Little did. He actually had a meeting. We dealt with that the day after our meeting on
Okay.
Thursday. So Friday, we had a meeting set up right away.
and what was
We're trying
the,
to tackle
what
this
was the
quickly as we can.
windup?
I'm sorry?
What was the windup from your meeting?
Well, as I said at the outset of our conversation here, I showed them Georgie Ann's pictures, and he said, yes, I know the foreman of the supervisors there, I will talk to them. And I said, the allegation is that, not him, but the gentleman with the backpack on, with the GPS system, trespassed and went on, and I showed him on the map where Georgie Ann's property is trespassed. And he says, the long and the short of it, he says, I will get back to you and I will talk to the gentleman, his name. He says, I will talk to him, not the guy that's allegedly had done it, but his supervisor.
Right,
And
right.
that was on last Friday.
Well, that should stop it right there.
But I
Correct.
would have one request, though, Tim. Get it in black and white from him.
Give me the numbers, Tim, I'll call them.
I'd really
I can do that.
appreciate it if somebody would call Sunoco over this. Like I said, Tim, if you find out what that flag is over there, because what I was told is the flag that they are putting around is they're putting them in areas where they're dropping from a helicopter or something, some sort of sensors. And I haven't had physically been able the last couple of days to walk my property around that gas line. But I intend to do that too. But can you find out if they placed any posts anywhere on my property?
Well, I think the gas company that has the line going through her property should be notified and be told that there could be seismic testing in that area, and could it be hazardous?
I think they probably are notified under.
Well, yeah, but they haven't responded from what I understand.
That'd be a one-call issue?
Yeah,
Well, when I
think it
called
would.
them last June, when this first happened last summer, when I called them, they weren't aware that anything was going on.
But that's all they said, they're not aware of it, or?
No, I said to them, they're planning on doing seismic testing, and there was a conversation between me and the representative at the time, but, you know.
Did they feel there was a safety issue?
They said that they had the line shut down for some reason in the back, and I don't recall, for me to tell you.
Okay. Is the line in service
That
today?
was over my head.
Is the line in service today?
Pardon me?
Is the line in service today?
I don't know that.
Okay. We should find that out, too.
So let's look into these things. Mr. Little, Mr. Ratcher, if you could look into those few things, and let's get back to council on that.
Okay.
So we'll leave the floor open for comment on agenda items only. I know we got off, that wasn't necessarily agenda, however, Ms. Woodhull was here on Thursday, and we certainly want to get those questions answered for her. But agenda items, please. The floor is yours. If you could just state your name for the record, please, and
Yes,
sign
I'm
in.
Len Young from Monroeville.
Welcome, Len.
Thank you. Just a quick comment about, let's see, item number 1, I guess. Let's see, no, 2, number 2. 152,000 cubic yards of earth. The Penn Monroe shops. I saw last month, they had the pictures and everything, the drawings and everything. I got to tell you, when he said they're going to bring that up to the level of Route 22, I just about pooped myself. 152,000 cubic yards of earth, that's a lot of earth. I know they...
Just so you know, that item is going to be tabled. They requested
Yeah.
tabling. I mean, you certainly
Okay.
still feel free to talk about
Can I
it.
just,
Just letting you know.
Get rid of the project altogether? It's insane, trying to get all that much earth to bring that thing up to the level of Route 22. It's a huge hole in the ground. The people that live down on the, I think it's Lilac Drive down below there, that were speaking about what's going to happen to their house and everything. And of course, they've got this plan for the drainage and everything. It's insane. All I can tell you is it's insane. I'm all for legitimate development and everything, but to put that much earth in that small of a space, to build it up, to put a shopping center, I mean,
They
no
were
matter
in
how
and
much-
made a presentation in, I believe, either December or January.
Yeah,
And part of that presentation showed how they would use, it was a 40-degree slope, if I remember
Tier it.
correctly.
right. Yeah, I
discussed
saw
how
the,
they were
I saw the
engineering.
For
drawings and
that.
everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It all sounds like a great idea, but it ain't gonna work.
Our
It ain't gonna work.
engineers felt that that was, they were comfortable with that,
Yeah.
and they also have also put in a, how large is that drainage system they put in down there?
I don't know the size offhand, Tom.
Yeah.
It was a
Yeah,
How long do you
huge,
think it's gonna
yeah.
take them to get all that earth in there anyway? I know they had some kind of deal with the turnpike, that went sour.
The what, I'm sorry, what?
They had some kind of deal with the turnpike, they were gonna have a bunch of soil when they widened from
Oh, I
widening
don't
the
know what their
turnpike.
deals are.
Whatever.
This is
All I can
tabled,
tell you
this is
is,
tabled for now, so
Yeah.
whenever it becomes untabled, they'll come back up, and that
Okay.
would be a good time for you to come up and talk.
Yeah.
And ask questions.
well, I'm just putting my 2 cents worth in there. I think it's insane, and it shouldn't happen. That's all.
Appreciate your opinion. I will leave the floor open for comment on agenda items only. Agenda only. Seeing none, I'm going to close that portion of the meeting. We have an executive session announcement. Council conducted an executive session for personnel and litigation reasons prior to Citizens Night, Thursday, February 8th, 2018, beginning at 6:15 until 7 p.m., and at 6:40 p.m. until 7 p.m. before tonight's council meeting. Council legislative action, if any, shall be taken at tonight's February 13th council meeting. Moving over to our approval of minutes, we have the minutes of the reorganization meeting of January 2nd, 2018, our Citizens Night meeting of January 4th, 2018, our council work session of January 4th, 2018, and our regular council meeting of January 9th, 2018.
Excuse me.
Any questions or additions on those items?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any other comments? None? Roll call, Sharon.
Mr. Wilson,
Aye.
Mr. Duncan,
Aye.
Mr. Arsenko.
Aye.
Mr. Johns.
Aye.
Mr. Harvey.
Aye.
Mr. Poach.
Aye.
Mrs. Gatos.
Aye.
Reports of our tax collections.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any questions or comments or additions? Roll call, Sharon.
Mrs. Gatos.
Aye.
Mr. Poach.
Aye.
Mr. Harvey.
Aye.
Mr. Johns.
Aye.
Mr. Arsenko.
Aye.
Mr. Duncan.
Aye.
Mr. Wilson.
Aye.
List of bills and budget transfers. Seek a motion.
Motion.
Second.
Wait a minute, which one are you doing, or both?
I'm doing them together.
Oh, okay.
And any questions this evening about those items? None. Roll call, Sharon.
Mr. Wilson.
Aye.
Mr. Duncan.
Aye.
Mr. Arsenko.
Aye.
Mr. Johns.
Aye.
Mr. Harvey.
Aye.
Mr. Poach.
Aye.
Mrs. Gatos.
Aye.
And payroll report.
Nothing. Motion to approve.
Second.
Any comments or questions? Roll call, Sharon.
Mrs. Gatos.
Aye.
Mr. Poach.
Aye.
Mr. Harvey.
Aye.
Mr. Johns.
Aye.
Mr. Arsenko.
Aye.
Mr. Duncan.
Aye.
Mr. Wilson.
Aye.
Very good. Moving over to our vacancies on boards, commissions, and authorities. Mr. Wilson, we'll start with you.
I have one, Crystal Smith. I'd like to appoint Crystal to the Human Needs and Resources Advisory Board.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Tom, you have two.
Oh, I have two.
Mr. Wilson, you have another one?
Yeah, I guess Janet Beagle, Ward 3, 105 Wilshire Circle.
Wiltshire.
I'd like to appoint Jeanette to the Human Needs and Resources Advisory Board.
That's a motion to appoint. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Mr. Wilson, do you have any other?
That's all. Thank you, Mayor.
I have a question. I just was made aware of a term on the library board. Now, will that be my pick, or would that be council's?
No, I believe it is yours, Steve. Ward
that right?
7, yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify
Ward
that.
six.
I mean, excuse me.
I don't know that I have anybody
Ward
that's
6.
willing yet, but I just wanted to know if
Six.
that's,
Was that the person that
It says right here.
retired, Steve?
yes, we got
Yes,
the
it
letter here today, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just informed, your secretary had notified me. So that would be my 6th ward pick, correct?
Yeah, there are two unexpired terms for the library board. There's one for Ward 5 to be filled for the remainder of this year.
Okay.
And then there's also a Ward 6 one that is to be filled throughout December of 2019, so.
Just
there's-
needed a clarification if
Sure.
that's my...
Certainly, if anyone's interested in
good.
the
Thank
library
you.
board from the 5th or 6th Ward, please notify Mr. Little. Mr. Duncan, so do you have any other appointments or nominations this evening?
I do not.
Mr. Arasinko.
None, but I have 2 vacancies I have to fill. One's on the library board and one's for the recreation and parks. And folks, for the 5th Ward, put your volunteer letter in, please. Other than that, nothing.
Very good. Mr. Johns.
Yes, sir. I'd like to make a motion to appoint Dan Gerhardt to the Recreation and Parks Advisory Board.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Mr. Johns, do you have another
Second
one this evening?
the Convention Visitors Bureau, Craig Koza. I'd like to make a nomination to reappoint him.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
That's it.
So I'm sorry, so is Mr. Koza, would that be a nomination
It's a nomination, yes, for a reappointment.
for reappointment? Okay, just to be clear.
You want me to do this, or you want to do it?
Mr. Harvey.
No, Mr. Wilson nominated my... Yeah, that's
No,
Janet
I-
Beagle, so...
I can do it, Ron.
You did?
I can see.
Mr. Harvey, do you have anything else this evening?
No, I'm good.
Mr. Poach.
I do for the Civil Service Commission nomination, Mr. Palermo.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
We need an alternate reappointed?
Hold on.
So we have, for the Civil Service Commission, there's 2 vacancies. We have a full term, but there's also an alternate term.
That was for
All
a
right.
full term, right?
Yeah.
That's the full-term one.
So that was a nomination for Mr. Palermo for the full term.
Yeah.
Okay. And then,
Then I'm up.
Go ahead.
okay, so Mr. Poach, you're done with your...
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
I would like to nominate for the alternate term, current to the end of this year, Andrew Wilkins, who is currently sitting there. So it's basically
Second.
reappointing him.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
I'd also like to wish him the best. I know he just had back surgery this past week, so I hope that he's doing well. Secondly, I would like to appoint Gary Grysiak to the Zoning Hearing Board.
That's a motion to appoint Gary Griziak.
Yes.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Thank you for interviewing, Linda.
Oh, you're welcome. And lastly, I also have an opening for the Park and Rec Advisory Board, if anyone in Ward 1 is interested to be on that. Seems we have a lot of people that are into the green of Monroeville, so maybe someone would like to donate their time. All I have.
Very good, Mrs. Gatos. Moving over to our consent agenda, we have old business. Mr. Little, if you would.
Okay, number 1 is the Gateway School District. Applicant is requesting rezoning of property from R1, one-family residential, to C2, business commercial. The property address is 4450 Old William Penn Highway, and known as Allegheny County Lot and Block Number 855 N105, and is approximately 26 acres. The Planning Commission recommends approval. The applicant has requested tabling this application.
Motion to table?
And before I seek a motion in a second, just because then that would not allow us to have any discussion, if I could just discuss something real briefly. I mentioned this at our work session. The Intergovernmental Committee met a few weeks ago, and what they want to do is have a public intergovernmental committee meeting to discuss this matter, so the school district can discuss why they want to do it, what they want to do, and it's going to be open for the public. We have set that date. It's going to be Tuesday, February 27th. Yes, Tuesday the 27th at 7 p.m., and that'll be at the junior high or the Gateway Middle School auditorium. So,
And all of council's allowed to...
yes, all of council is certainly permitted to be there and allowed to be there. Same thing with the school district. But we were going to keep it as just the committee members to being on the dais, just so we don't have 19 people up front, but certainly everyone's going to be involved. So if any residents would like to speak in favor of this or against this, that would be your opportunity to do so, and the school district will discuss everything at that time, and then at that point, they'll decide if they want to bring it back to council. However, for now, they have requested tabling because we certainly want to get this public meeting in front of everybody on February 27th, and we'll be talking about that later in the meeting this evening, and certainly the school district will be talking about it and advertising it on their end as well.
This is at the Monroeville Middle School, is that correct?
Bill Junior High.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, Gateway Middle, which
the
is
middle school now, Bear.
known to many as the junior high.
Yes, thank you.
At this property, 4450 Old William Penn Highway.
I'm sorry, I called you Mayor, Mr. Councilman.
Remember old?
I didn't mean to.
So is there any other discussion at this point before I seek a motion to table? Okay, I will seek a motion to table.
Motion.
And is there a second?
Second.
Okay, roll call, Sharon, please.
Mrs. Gatos.
Aye.
Mr. Poach.
Aye.
Mr. Harvey.
Aye.
Mr. Johns.
Aye.
Mr. Ursinko.
Aye.
Mr. Duncan.
Aye.
Mr. Wilson.
Aye.
Very good. Mr. Little.
Okay, item 2, Zokaitis Properties, Penn Monroe Shops. Applicants requesting conditional use approval pursuant to Section 401.8 of the Monroeville zoning ordinance number 1443, as amended to permit a cut and fill operation totaling approximately 152,000 cubic yards of earth. Property is located at 3985 William Penn Highway in the C2 zoning commercial district. And the Planning Commission recommends approval. The applicant has requested tabling of this application and waives all time limits.
Make a motion to table it.
Second.
Roll call, Sharon.
Mr. Wilson.
Aye.
Mr. Duncan.
Aye.
Mr. Ursinko.
Aye.
Mr. Johns. Mr. Harvey.
Aye.
Mr. Poach.
Aye.
Mrs. Gatos.
Aye.
Mr. Little.
Okay, and the next item is the same development. Applicant is requesting site plan approval to construct 29,430 square feet of retail plaza, 7,120 square feet of restaurant and associated site amenities. The property is located again at 3985 Old William Penn Highway, William Penn Highway in the C2 Business Commercial District. Planning Commission approved this, and applicant has recommended tabling of this also.
Motion to table.
Second.
Roll call, Sharon.
Mrs. Gatos.
Aye.
Mr. Poach.
Aye.
Mr. Harvey.
Aye.
Mr. Johns.
Aye.
Mr. Ursinko.
Aye.
Mr. Duncan.
Aye.
Mr. Wilson.
Aye.
Okay, item number 4 is Grace Life Church. Applicant is requesting rezoning of property from R2, one-family residential, and S Conservancy to C2 Business Commercial. Property address is 4745 William Penn Highway, and known as Allegheny County Lot and Block Number 1107A277, 1107A276. The area requested to be rezoned is 46.52 acres. Planning Commission recommended denial. The applicant has requested tabling of their rezoning application until March.
So move the table.
Second.
Roll call, Sharon.
Mr. Wilson.
Aye.
Mr. Duncan.
Aye.
Mr. Ursinko.
Aye.
Mr. Johns.
Aye.
Mr. Harvey.
Aye.
Mr. Poach.
Aye.
Mrs. Gatos.
Aye.
Very good. Mr. Little, we have new business. We have one item.
Yeah, this is the Wilco Tango Foxtrot Properties. Applicant is requesting preliminary and final subdivision approval of tax parcel 858D65 to subdivide the lot into 3 lots. Each of the proposed lots will have an acreage in excess of .5 acres. The address of the parcel is 2507 Haymaker Road in the R1 one-family residential zoning district.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any questions or comments, council?
They have a military name.
Yeah.
Not
That is
exactly.
correct.
I like
Not
that.
exactly.
That's a snazzy name.
It actually stands for something.
Wilco Tango Foxtrot.
Yes, Mr. Layton, we know.
Very good. So roll call, Sharon, please.
Mrs. Gatos.
Aye.
Mr. Poach.
Aye.
Mr. Harvey.
Aye.
Mr. Johns.
Aye.
Mr. Ursinko.
Aye.
Mr. Duncan.
Aye.
Mr. Wilson.
Aye.
Motion passes. Good luck with your project.
Thank you.
Mr. Little, motions.
Okay, we have 2 motions. First is a motion to place a half-page advertisement in the amount of $90 in the program for the Gateway High School musical Fiddler on the Roof.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any questions or comments?
If I were a rich man.
You are.
He's here all week.
Roll call, Sharon.
You don't get
Last
that.
night.
It's from it's a line from the show.
Absolutely.
Yes, Tevye,
We
yes.
know.
If you don't know, you have to show up.
Well, not everybody knows.
You are a rich man.
Very good. So we have a motion and a second. Roll call, Sharon, please.
Mr. Wilson.
Aye.
Mr. Duncan.
Aye.
Mr. Arasinko.
Aye.
Mr. Johns.
Aye.
Mr. Harvey.
Aye.
Mr. Poach.
Aye.
Mrs. Gatos.
Aye.
Okay, motion number 2, a motion authorized to advertise for a request for proposal to provide planning consultant services for a feasibility study for a bicycle and pedestrian trail. This is a grant that we received called the Active Allegheny Grant, and this is a grant for $45,000, and this is to put the RFP out for the consultant.
So moved.
I got to, first of all, excuse me. I
If
have
we
a
could just get a second first. and then
Second.
Very good.
Go ahead,
Mr.
Tom.
Wilson, your question?
question, Tim. This RFP, I remember we've done some RFPs in the past, and they've cost us $4,000 and $5,000 to do these RFPs. Do you have any idea what this RFP will cost us?
It's not going to cost us anything.
Oh, there you go. I'm fine with it.
It'll be done in-house.
It's the best price going.
Yeah, price is right.
Very good. Any other questions, Mr. Wilson?
That's all. Thank you.
Fire.
Any other questions or comments, council?
No.
All right. Roll call, Sharon, please.
Mrs. Gatos.
Aye.
Mr. Poach.
Aye.
Mr. Harvey.
Aye.
Mr. Johns.
Aye.
Mr. Arasinko.
Aye.
Mr. Duncan.
Aye.
Mr. Wilson.
Aye.
Motion passes. Moving over to our resolutions, we have several. Mr. Little?
Okay, the first one is a resolution adopting the Penn Monroe Shops sewage planning module, and this also is recommended for tabling along with the tabling you just did on this development.
So moved to table.
Second.
Roll call, Sharon.
Mr. Wilson.
Aye.
Mr. Duncan.
Aye.
Mr. Arasinko.
Aye.
Mr. Johns.
Aye.
Mr. Harvey.
Aye.
Mr. Poach.
Aye.
Mrs. Gatos.
Aye.
Okay, number 2 is a resolution adopting a sewage planning module for Walnut Crossing Apartments located at 4175 Ivanhoe Drive.
Is there a motion on the floor?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any questions or comments?
Is there any issues, Mr. Hugus?
No, ma'am.
That's all?
Yes, and just so everyone knows, we did discuss this at length. Actually, this was 2 months ago, whenever they did a full presentation on this project. So this was in front of us at length at this public meeting. So we have a motion and a second. Roll call, Sharon, please.
Mr. Wilson.
Aye.
Mr. Duncan.
Aye.
Mr. Arasinko.
Aye.
Mr. Johns.
Aye.
Mr. Harvey.
Aye.
Mr. Poach.
Aye.
Mrs. Gatos.
Aye.
Okay, number 3, a resolution adopting the sewage planning module for the Trevini Building located at 275 Center Road.
Motion.
Second.
Questions or comments?
Again, is this, everything okay with this one, Mr. Hugus?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
And this is directly across from Garden City Drive Center.
This is, sits up behind the nursing home off of Center Road, what used to be the Dapolonia building.
It's where that empty lot is, right there.
No, this is an existing structure. This is a little different because it's an existing structure. So there's no land development per se, but they're increasing the volume of sewage, water consumption sewage, so they have to do a planning module.
Very good. Any other questions or comments, council? Roll call, Sharon.
Mrs. Gatos.
Aye.
Mr. Poach.
Aye.
Mr. Harvey.
Aye.
Mr. Johns.
Aye.
Mr. Arasinko.
Aye.
Mr. Duncan.
Aye.
Mr. Wilson.
Aye.
Okay, number 4, a resolution establishing the amount of the bond required to be posted by the municipal tax collector at $10 million per year for the years 2018, 2019, 2020, and 2021, and authorizing the purchase of said bond pursuant to Section 1112 of the Home Rule Charter of the Municipality of Monroeville.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Questions or comments? Roll call, Sharon.
Mr. Wilson.
Aye.
Mr. Duncan.
Aye.
Mr. Arasinko.
Aye.
Mr. Johns.
Aye.
Mr. Harvey.
Aye.
Mr. Poach.
Aye.
Mrs. Gatos.
Aye.
Okay, number 5, a resolution authorizing the filing of an application for funds with the Redevelopment Authority of Allegheny County in the amount of $150,000 for the Monroeville Community Park Project.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Questions or comments?
Just that we reiterate to the public that this is to finish the courts,
Correct. This is for the basketball and tennis courts.
so everyone knows what
Absolutely.
the money is for.
Yep, and we're hoping if this all goes through, well, even if this doesn't go through, we're going to fix these courts, and it's
Yes.
going to be done in the springtime as soon as we're able to get a shovel in the ground, so.
Yes.
Any other questions or comments?
No, sir.
Roll call, Sharon?
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
Mr. Poach?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Mr. Johns?
Aye.
Mr. Arcinico?
Aye.
Mr. Duncan?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
Okay, number 6, a resolution authorizing the filing of an application for funds with the Redevelopment Authority of Allegheny County in the amount of $75,000 for the Monroeville Evergreen Park project.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Questions or comments?
This is the playground equipment?
Correct.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Correct.
Thank you.
So they're replacing old equipment and bringing in some new stuff, so it's,
Updated.
yes, great project for
Excellent.
for the park.
Excellent.
Any other questions or comments? Roll call, Sharon, please.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
Mr. Duncan?
Aye.
Mr. Arcinico?
Aye.
Mr. Johns?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Mr. Poach?
Aye.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
Okay, and last is a resolution authorizing the display of various event banners at the corner of the intersection of States Route 22 and 48 within a right-of-way of property belonging to the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation.
Motion to approve.
Second?
Questions or comments?
Is there something this month, right, Ms.?
Date
Date
Teen dating
violence.
violence awareness, that's the reason
Yes.
why we're passing a resolution.
Yes.
So
The other
everyone-
4 on there are banners that we've had before,
Right.
and PennDOT asks us to pass a resolution for liability reasons.
I just think for date violence, that's important to start the program off with, so. That's it.
Any other comments, council? Roll call, Sharon?
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
Mr. Poach?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Mr. Johns?
Aye.
Mr. Arcinico?
Aye.
Mr. Duncan?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
Very good. And we had one ordinance this evening that we have tabled, so Mr. Ratcher, you're off the hook right now.
Wonderful.
However, since the floor is yours right now, if you have any comments for this evening?
No comments, Mayor.
Okay. Mr. Little, any comments this evening?
Yeah, I just want to reiterate what I mentioned Thursday night at the work session. The DEP has sent out mailers. They sent out one last Friday in bulk, and the second one will be going out, I believe, this Friday, about mine subsidence insurance for residents who believe they may need it. You can go to our website, and there's a plethora of information on our website in addition to what you have received in the mail or what you will receive in the mail. Also, I mentioned that PennDOT will be paving Route 22 from about the Turnpike to the Murraysville border this coming beginning. When they begin, I don't know. Once I find out, I'll let the public know. So there's going to be a lot of traffic disruption, most likely this summer, with that paving project. However, it is needed immensely, as a lot of other roads are. And that concludes my report.
Okay. Thank you very much. Mr. Hugus, any comments this evening?
No, sir.
Ms. Rock?
No, nothing.
Very good. And we're going to open the floor up for public comments for any municipal item. Now would be your time.
Go ahead. Go right ahead. I'm fine.
Hello,
What to?
Rabbi Barbara Simons. I'm Monroeville. Thank you, resident. Nice to see you all. Thank you. I just had a question of what just came up. So regarding the banners, how is it decided what banners can be displayed? Because on the rare occasion that we actually get a green light and aren't sitting watching them, then you need the banner to be not disruptive either to driving. So what is the process for choosing what banners can be displayed?
Mr. Little? Mr. Little, if you could...
I'm sorry.
That's right. What is the process for...
Mr. Harvey, stop talking to Mr. Little.
Gavel him.
I'm sorry, Barbara. And I know it had to do with the banners. You
Right.
mentioned
What
how
is the process for approving which banners may be displayed?
you can send me a letter, you can send me an email on if you want something displayed, and we can put it onto this resolution because we will update it just like we're doing now and send it into PennDOT because they want a resolution for liability reasons that we're aware that this banner is being put up there, so they're aware.
So it specifically is every time there's a banner request, it needs to be approved by council?
Not necessarily. If it's an annual thing, we have banners on here.
Not if they're already on the resolution.
Yeah, if they're on a resolution already, we pass it once, we send it to PennDOT, and we're good. The only reason we're passing this one tonight is because this is a new one, the Teen
Right.
Dating Violence Awareness Month.
Right.
Hasn't been put on. For instance, the Monroeville Jazz Festival, North American Martyrs Summer Festival, Celebrate
You're
Monroeville,
not
they're
going to
all...
see like Marry Me or My Husband Write I Love You, Happy Birthday.
So if
or-
there's a new banner that someone is requesting, the process is they would send a letter to you, and then the
Correct.
council would vote on whether that particular banner is acceptable, and
That
then
is
it's
correct.
acceptable at all times going forward.
It would go to
And also,
PennDOT, though.
PennDOT has their
PennDOT has the right to-
dimensions
I
and,
Mhm.
you know, size limits and so
Got it.
forth.
Criteria.
Thank you for clarifying.
Thank you. The floor is still open?
Hi, my name is Jay Wright. I live in Monroeville. I'm sure you all know me by now. I only have a couple questions tonight. Does the borough on any of its property have any
Municipality.
oil and gas leases?
Municipality.
Okay, does the municipality on any of its property have oil and gas leases with any company?
What's at the community park?
Yeah, we have two up at the community park right across the street from you, Jay.
Whom are they with?
I think, I can't be
Check.
positive about it. I have to check. I thought Apex or something like, I could be wrong on that.
I thought they were Elmer Johnette. I'm just curious
Could
if he
be.
sold them.
It could be.
It might be I think it's
Yeah, I
Elmer.
think you're right. I think
Well,
I think it's
Steve, no,
Actagon.
not
I think it's
Well,
Actagon,
if it's
yeah.
still
Oh,
out.
Actagon, that's it. I'm
It's not
sorry.
stuck in
It's
the mud anymore.
Actagon.
Actagon, yeah.
It's
but
Actagon.
They may not still own them.
That was my question. Do we know who owns them?
Who do you get a check from?
Can we check
I
and
could
find
check,
out?
sure, yeah. No problem.
Second question. I asked the other night at Citizens Night about passing an ordinance by council protecting municipal property in Monroeville against oil and gas drilling. Have we given any thought to doing that?
Well, we'll certainly consider your request, but as we mentioned, we don't want to put out any pre-decisional information to you prior to, if we comment on these type of matters that are down the road, it could impact the
Well,
way.
actually, you can comment on that because you've already got an ordinance against you've got a seismic testing ordinance, which is the same thing.
It's not,
It's
though.
not the same thing.
Okay.
But I mean, you're making,
Would you give it serious consideration? Because it would alleviate a lot of fears of all the citizens of Monroeville.
Does this start with the planning commission, not necessarily with us? Is the place to
No,
answer that
it
question?
can start here.
It can? Okay.
And that's fine, and I think what we'd like to do is group it all together, you know.
Oh, that's
At a
fine, Mr.
final.
Duncan. I'm just asking, please, because, listen, the only thing I come up here, one of the reasons is oil and gas. I don't want a well in Monroeville. I don't think a Monroeville needs a well. And I'm not being smart, it's just, I know you need oil and gas. I'm not against oil and gas, but I think it should be out in the country where there are not houses, where there are not people. Because if we put one in Monroeville, you're going to have tremendous amount of truck traffic, a lot of diesel fumes in the air and everything else. And that's all. I thank you for listening to me. Thank you.
thanks, Jay.
I did.
Very good. I will leave the floor open for public comments on any municipal item.
Okay.
Hi again. Len Young, live in Monroeville. 3 words with regard to this seismic testing and everything. Drill, baby, drill. You've heard that expression. One thing I just wanted to alert the municipality about, down at the American Legion Gold Star Post 820, it's the bottom of Duff Road. Every Saturday night, we have a bingo down there. It's a lot of fun, and trying to get a few more seats filled down there, so anybody out there in bingo land want to play bingo Saturday night, starts at 8 p.m.
Open
goes
to the
about-
public?
Yes, it's open to the public.
You don't need
21
to
and
be a
over?
member.
Yes, 21 or over.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a smoking, around the bar, and that's a smoking area. We do have a room in the back, non-smoking. People prefer non-smoking area. Lots of tables and chairs back here, too. But it's a lot of fun.
Is there a specific jackpot?
Depends on how many cards are sold for each game. But there's like about 10 games, regular bingos, Then there's 2 coverall jackpots and then a X, fill the X, that's like a double jackpot thing, too. But just trying to get a little more business down there. American Legion Gold Star Post 820 right here in Monroeville, bottom of Duff Road there. Starts at 8 p.m. every Saturday night, and everybody's welcome to come on down.
Very good. Thank you.
And I want to say that Punxsutawney Phil, I think he was wrong this time. We got some good warm weather coming up, which I'm real happy about.
Don't say it out loud, Lance.
No.
Yeah, you're going to
Say it out
shake
loud.
it.
Please,
Dear
Len.
God.
Happy spring.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Young. And I'll leave the floor open for any municipal item. Seeing none, we're going to close that portion of the meeting, and we'll go over to our council comments. Mrs. Gatos, we'll start with you.
First and foremost, I would like to say happy Valentine's Day to the man that makes my world go around, which is, of course, my husband. So, love
We
you
hope
very
so.
much. Hey. To the, speaking of bingo, the senior center, which has not had their bingos the last couple of months due to the weather, is actually going to be having their bingo again on March 3rd. And since I won't see anybody before then, I'm letting you know. Of course, it's a guaranteed $500 jackpot, and the doors open at 11, bingo's at 1 o'clock. So if you want to get out and about, it's always a good thing to be at. Also, I wanted to talk about the hold on one second. They're going to be doing pirate games. The first one is going to be Thursday, April 26th. It's a 12:30 game. It's $25. That gives you a $5 food and the voucher for there, and you will sit undercover. So if you're interested to go see the pirates and you don't want to take yourself and go with a group, that's always a nice thing. And lastly, you can still keep up on your resolutions to go work out, go see someone at the senior center, check out the fitness center. They have so many programs, and it's a great way to meet people as well. And I think that's all I have for tonight.
Very good. Mr. Poach.
Good evening. First of all, again, thanks to our professional staff here. Mr. Little and his folks have spent some time with me today, still trying to bring me up to speed slowly. Slightly overwhelming, but I had the opportunity to meet with the municipal department heads to understand a little bit about the workings of the municipality. So it was a productive afternoon. So thank you, Tim, and to everyone else that was there to help me. Also, to Mr. Johns, his advice, again, I work with the Visitors and Convention Bureau as a representative to that, too, our previous candidate, and his advice on that, too. I'll be meeting with them really the first time on Thursday, too, for our nominations and folks that are in place, too. So I'll be able to continue to give you some input on that as we move forward. Our colleagues from the library brought us some information today as well. First of all, they have some documentaries and discussions on the fog of war, 11 lessons from the life of Robert McNamara. It's going to be featured over at the library on the 20th at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. They're looking at other times for that as well to expand, and that's pretty terrific. Also, there's a Lunar New Year celebration with an indoor dragon parade on Saturday, the 17th. I'm not positive if we have a resolution to allow dragons in Monroeville, but we will let them in on Saturday as well. We discussed it with animal control. We're also saving the date for, keeping up with that part of it too, they have some friends of the library, and they always need that help from it as well. They're holding a tea on the 19th to celebrate the British royal weddings, which Her Ladyship, my wife, will be attending, I'm sure, as well, in honor of the royal weddings that are happening on the 19th, which is also our wedding anniversary, too. So they called us and...
Happy anniversary.
Well, they did. They called and asked for advice for a good day at times, so we put that in place, too. But other than that, again, thanks is bringing me up to speed, folks, and continue to work with you as well. That's all, sir.
Very good. Thank you. Mr. Harvey.
A couple important items that I wanted not only to clarify to the public, but bring council up to speed. And the first one is the new public safety radio system. Some of you may or may not have seen the Channel 4 report, which was, I sat in the council chambers here with that gentleman for about a half hour and got 6 seconds of tape, and I just want everybody to know where it's at. Forget the news story. All of the new equipment is in. It is all in the Pittsburgh Motorola shop. However, it is not easy or a fast project to put in. The first part of it is going to be the 2 new consoles that get installed downstairs. The second part of it is going to be the infrastructure, which is the satellite and microwave sites that go on the towers outside and the one at the mall, and needless to say, weather dictates a lot of that because these installers have to climb those radio towers to install this stuff. And that probably is going to be the longest part, is getting that part installed. Again, the one at the mall and the other 4 sites will be removing Verizon phone lines. We won't have to rent those anymore. And I can tell you that the microwave site at the mall right now is planned to have 6 interior antennas and 2 exterior antennas. We are also going to have, we have enough space on that to let mall security take advantage of it. So not only will the Monroeville police be on those microwave sites, but mall security, and they won't interfere with each other. After that, there are all new mobile radios to go in the police cars and all new portable radios to give to the police officers. Some of those radios that come out may be able to be used by Public Works, and that obviously is not going to be a fast project either because they have to keep, we're changing bandwidths, so they have to keep the police officers on communication capabilities while all of these new radios start transferring. So it's going to take some coordination on the chief's part and the supervisors and Motorola to keep everybody on the same channel until these new radios get installed and the new portables get issued. So no matter what you heard, this took a long time to get. My compliments and thank you to council, because the money that we allotted was unexpected and not a penny of budget money was used for this. And it's going to get done. It's happening. And again, for the infrastructure part, we have to bear with them because we have to wait till weather permits these guys to climb the towers, et cetera. So that's the end of that report. That is happening. Am I not correct, Chief?
100% correct.
Okay.
Yay!
Actually, just to even throw on board, you don't know, not to go along here, that equipment will be in this building tomorrow or Thursday at the latest.
Yes.
Very good.
That's quick.
That was quick.
Yeah, it was.
Oh,
One more request that the council had talked about, and I think we bumped it from a couple to 7, one for each ward. Can we get a quote and a price on those electronic speed signs, the radar signs that we've done?
Yeah, I have that. Yeah, I have that information.
So if you could get us a price on those so we know. The other part was kind of briefed by the mayor, where we had our first intergovernmental committee since the new council, and I thought it went pretty well. Now, to jump ahead to what he said, he worked with them very closely to get this date set up, and I want to look at the residents and the residents on TV, and especially the residents in the 3rd Ward. This will be your opportunity to express your views and hopefully get answers to your questions that you might have. This is it. This is where you need to come to ask the questions, because I can only answer the part of them from council, and there's the school board that is in control of the property. You own the property. But this is where you should be. And this is not just 3rd Ward residents. Any resident in Monroeville that wants to talk about the possible development or sale of that property, or the closing of the school, the future of where those kids might go. This is the meeting you want to come to. So, again, Tuesday the 27th at that very school in the auditorium. I have received numerous phone calls, which is why I kept tabling the zoning change, and this is it. This is where you're going to get your answers. So I encourage you, and matter of fact, I was hoping we would get a notice sent out in the water bill, but I don't know if that's going to happen.
we don't have time.
Next to last, Officer John Beener and Tom Bond, their last day is Friday. My congratulations for all their years of service, and I hope they have a happy retirement.
Yay.
And happy Valentine's to everybody. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Harvey.
Mayor, I'm sorry, I forgot one thing.
Sure, go ahead, Mrs. Davis.
Which is extremely exciting. This is, for a second year in a row, we have received the status as a banner community from the Allegheny League of Municipalities. We have not been there before, and the staff has worked very hard the last few years to get us up to snuff to be accepted and now receive these awards, and this is our second in a row. And it distinguishes us as a model community through a commitment to sustainable practices, including professional development, intergovernmental cooperation, sound fiscal management, and proactive communication to engage the community. So I think it's a wonderful thing. I think it shows that how hard we are all working and trying to work with you at the public. So I'm very proud. I'd like to thank everybody that was a part of that, and I think you all should be proud as citizens of Monroeville. And that's it.
Very good. Thank you. Mr. Johns?
Yes, sir. The only thing I have is just like to let everybody know that the Parade and Fireworks Committee, even though it's February, we've had a couple meetings getting together, and hopefully next month I'll be able to let everybody know just what we're doing this year with the parade and fireworks. That's it.
Mr. Arasinko?
Couple of things. Thank you for mentioning that, Linda. I was going to do the same. But, just so everybody knows, I'm part of the ALOM committee, I should say the executive board, as well as the Allegheny County Boroughs Association. We do have a meeting on the 22nd with ALOM and March 1st on the Allegheny County Boroughs Association. I will start, as we meet about 4 times a year, sometimes 6 times, I will bring information that will be appropriate for you all to understand what your state government and county and local are doing. This is Black History Month, and I think we should certainly recognize our residents that have really touched our lives going back many, many years. And one of the ones that shocks me is, and I didn't know that until I actually read a little bit about it, is that one of our black residents was one of the actual inventors of the elevator. And how many times do we use an elevator to this day? So just kudos to our residents there. And happy Valentine's Day to my wife and to everybody else, and I'm done.
Very good. Thank you. Mr. Duncan?
Hey, happy Valentine's Day to my wife and family and everybody out there. That's all I have.
Mr. Wilson?
First of all, I'd like to say thank you to our Cub Scouts that are moving into the...
Oh, yeah, I forgot to say that. Amen. Good job, Tom.
That are moving to the next level. Stand up, please, guys. Come on, stand up. Come on, stand up for us. Yeah. Good job. All right. Good job. Thanks for coming, and I hope to see you up here someday. Okay? Happy Valentine's to everybody. Thanks to the residents that came forward tonight. We're certainly trying to do our best to make things work properly for everyone. You got to give us some time. There's a lot of legal issues going on. And happy Valentine's Day to my wife, my 2 daughters, and my 4 grandchildren. Thank you again. Bye.
Great. Thank you. And we should just point out that these 2 Boy Scouts have done more than most residents have done. They came to this meeting and sat here throughout the whole meeting, and they did a great job. So
yeah, you have our
welcome
condolences.
Exactly. Very good. And to follow up with Mr. Harvey's comments, once again, Tuesday, February 27th, 7 p.m., Gateway Middle School, the old junior high building auditorium. We're having a public intergovernmental committee meeting. Please, that's a time to stress your concerns, for or against this change. So please, Tuesday, February 27th, 7 p.m. Mr. Little, this will be on TV 15 and our website as well.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And then also to the Gateway School District, they have another meeting between now and then as well. They'll be announcing it on their end as well. So we want to definitely get as many people as possible to that meeting.
Doesn't the school have a way of reaching out to all of the parents that maybe you could do a blast?
Just for the school district.
I'm sorry, but I was asking Val Warning from the school.
Well, yeah, we have a
I
school.
was on that school board for 4 years, ma'am.
40?
4.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, to answer everybody's question, yes, they do have an e-blast type capability for their, at least for the school district members, for the parents, and that'd be a decision for school district if they wanted to do that. I think that'd be a smart thing to do,
Yeah,
to get the word out as much
correct.
as we can.
Yes.
Another follow-up on Mr. Harvey. Again, congratulations to our two officers, Officer Vaughn and Wiener, and we wish them the best in their retirement. We thank them for their service to our community and wish them the best with their retirements. Friday, March 23rd, the end of the month of March, the Pittsburgh Regional Support Group for Lyme Disease and the PA Lyme Resource Network will be showing a documentary, Under Our Skin, that highlights the untold story of Lyme disease on that date at the Monroeville Senior Citizen Center. It'll be followed up with a panel discussion with two Lyme literate physicians, Dr. Joseph and Dr. Dioramo. It's an event that we've been putting together for a few months now, so we'll be talking about that as it gets closer, but that's at the end of March, March 23rd. And lastly, I'm going to wish my wife a happy Valentine's Day, and also the other two girls in my life, my daughters Allie and Hannah. So happy Valentine's Day to them, and with that, I will seek a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you and good night.